On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. For OU stuff, we talk Jayden Jackson, Logan Howland, Gracen Halton, and Kip Lewis. Then we recap the CFP Semifinals, and we give you our winners and losers of the weekend, where we talk some OU hoops, Thunder, and NFL playoffs. Please download and subscribe to the podcast. Rate it 5 stars and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Also, check out our website, okbreakdown.com. All right, our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Sunday, January 12th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and there are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games, with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, match roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And to learn more about their gaming promotions and entertainment options, all you got to do is visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. We just consumed a lot of football.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. It's been three straight looking for one more.
And we were trying to decide whether or not to wait for Baker and the Bucks to play before we recorded the podcast, but then you and I were like, we just want to sit down, enjoy that game. Let's get this out of the way.
That's right. That's right.
Let's start with OU football like we always do. Sooners got more good news this week, Ted. Gracen Halton announced that he will be coming back next year for Oklahoma. And I don't think this was a situation where he was considering going to the NFL draft. I'm just going to be real. I think just like Jayden Jackson, several programs were trying to poach Gracen Halton from Oklahoma via different methods. Okay, but we all know how this works. Like, someone reaches out to someone that represents Gracen. Like, it's not that hard to get in touch with these guys now, because they have agents, because they have representation. And there were several big time programs coming after Gracen Halton. So credit to Gracen Halton and his representation, the people helping him make his decisions. Credit to OU, credit to OU's collective, One Oklahoma, on working through all of that and coming to an agreement that brings Gracen Halton back for the Sooners in 2025. This is another big piece of news for the Oklahoma defense for next season. It continues to look like that defense is going to be legit.
Yeah. Well, and it just goes to show that the NIL funds aren't just for going out and finding transfer portal players, right? You've got to lock up all the guys that you have on your roster, and that is becoming more and more expensive every year. And getting Gracen Halton back is huge. I thought he was the perfect changeup on our interior defensive line for Dominic Williams and Jayden Jackson and Big DJ Terry. Those guys are kind of a little bit more at the line of scrimmage type players. They can two gap really well. And he is the penetrator. He flies off the football a little bit lighter and quicker twitch than those guys. But he had a huge season, super productive, was in on a bunch of big plays. And I expect him to continue to develop. I mean, he was a little on the lighter side, but he's methodically put weight on and, was just trying to get to that 300 number. And I would expect another year around, get bigger, faster, stronger, a little bit heavier. And I would expect him to have another really good year.
So do I. And in my mind, he can improve a lot. Down in and down out as a player. Like, we all know that he can get on a guy's edge and go rush the passer. But defensive lineman, like, you've got to be more than that. And I thought Gracen, I thought he became more than that in the 2024 season. You look at the stats: 30 tackles, 17 solos, 6 TFLs, 5 sacks, had a couple forced fumbles. He was a disruptive player.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hey, let's be real. He's getting paid. That's one less thing to worry about. And now it's time to set yourself up to go to the National Football League. He's got to add the weight. He's got to add more strength, and he's got to become a 3-down defensive tackle where you're not worried about anything with him. You're not worried about taking on double teams in the gap scheme run game. Like, he's got to be able to anchor on that stuff and excel in those situations that aren't as glamorous as 3rd and 7 and going and rushing the quarterback. And I thought he got better, especially I thought he progressed throughout the season in those situations, like playing the boring parts of the position. And I think it had a lot to do with him gaining confidence as the season went on. And that's something that I talked to Gracen about after some of these games when we do the post-game interviews. It was clear to me he went from a guy that was thinking, hey, I think I can go out there and make plays, to I know I can go out there and make plays. And when you get that confidence shift, it's a massive deal as a player. And I think he's got that confidence now, but now it's time for him to put in some serious work in the offseason and just take it to another level. Because I think we both agree, like, he's capable of more.
Yeah, no, I think so. It's like a lot of guys that, have had some real flashes of production. It's just about finding some consistency, right? We've seen what you're capable of. Just need to see it on, a more regular basis. I think he's got great get off. We talked about that. He's like I said, the change up, he can fly up the field and penetrate and create some havoc. But it's pad level, it's hand placement, it's strength, it's size, it's making sure you're on all of the details. I like you said, the boring parts of the position, being able to hold point whenever, they're running at your side and you're one of the real anchor points of the defense. And, he's a guy that I think has become pretty well-rounded in what he can do, but, there's room for improvement really in every aspect. And, I think whenever a lot of times the light bulb comes on, you say, man, I had a productive year and I'm getting rewarded for it. I could take this to the next level. I can continue to improve. There's a lot of things left in my game where I can just take the next step, and hopefully he's one of the guys that kind of sees the light there.
Yeah, I think there's, different people react differently to a little financial security.
Yep.
And that's a part of this entire college football thing that, a lot of people just really aren't talking about. But it's a very real piece of this. Hey, you get a little money. How do you react to it? Is it one of those situations where you go, okay, I'm good, and you relax? Or does it motivate you even more? Saying, hey, I can go get, big time money in the NFL.
Yep.
If I get better, if I continue to improve. And I like to think that Gracen Halton is one of those guys that is wired the right way.
Yeah.
That was clearly easy for me to say. Wired the right way. Wired the right way. That's tough. But yeah. I'm assuming that's going to motivate him to be even better. And the crazy part is that I don't even know if this guy is necessarily a starter for this team in 2025, but he's certainly a key contributor. He may not run out there first. That may be Dominic Williams. That may be Dominic Williams and Jayden Jackson. But we all know how important Halton is to what this team is going to be in 2025, especially with our Mason Thomas coming back. Because out of all the other guys on this defensive line, if teams are going to game plan for our Mason Thomas and send protection his way, if teams are going to pay extra attention to our Mason Thomas, the other guy in OU's defensive line that I feel best about going and winning a one-on-one matchup is Gracen Halton.
Yeah,
So it's huge that he's coming back because an interior pass rush is it can be so disruptive. But I think he's the number one guy other than our Mason Thomas that I trust to go win a one-on-one. And if teams are going to pay a ton of attention to our Mason and build their protection plan around not letting him wreck a game, then that's going to give Gracen Halton a bunch of one-on-ones and give him some serious opportunities to make some splash plays.
Yep. No, I agree. And he's great whenever they run the twist and the stunts because, he can really run. And you'll see it every now and then whenever, he chases guys down, quarterbacks trying to escape the pocket, and he's able to take the angle on them and keep them from just turning the corner and picking up huge amounts of yards. I mean, he's got a lot of really good tools. And like I said, a little bit bigger, a little bit better pad level and consistency on some of the, the heavy run game stuff on the interior, then I think he can be a big time difference maker for us yet again.
Halton, Jackson, Williams. I think both of us are expecting David Stone to make a big jump. Pretty exciting interior group, man.
It is.
I'm getting entirely too excited about the defense. It's only January. You're going to have to calm me down, Ted.
All right. Well, just take your time there. But I guess we're not done in the portal. Sounds like there's still people visiting. So save some of that celebration energy, maybe.
Did you see Kip Lewis's tweet?
I did.
I assume now that if you tweet a highlight video edit thing like that, which by the way, whoever is doing those for Oklahoma is killing it. Those are fantastic.
Yes.
Awesome. But there's no caption on the tweet. It was great. But I assume that means Kip Lewis is going to be an Oklahoma Sooner in 2025, right? That's how I interpreted it. Now the portal is closed. I don't know where he would go currently, but my read on that situation was, oh, that means Kip is coming back. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird how to interpret some of these things. Like there's announcements to situations you didn't even know needed announcements every now and then. And I don't know if they've just got a rotation like you're due for your video to be released. We're done with it. Here you go. Tweet it out there, however that works. I don't know, but I expect big things from Kip Lewis this year. I mean, he's just continually gotten better and better and better. He has a great set of tools. He made some of the biggest plays of the season for us, not just on defense, just overall instrumental in a couple of our big wins. And it's a big offseason for him to take that final step to being, the guy. And it goes back just like with Gracen Holt with a lot of these guys, consistency. We know he's capable of the huge plays, and we just gotta make those more common and make mistakes less common. Not that he's out there making a ton of mistakes, but he's got to continue to clean things up, be in the right spot, understand the defense better and better, and I fully expect him to do it.
This is in no way a shot at Kobe McKenzie. I think he's got great leadership qualities. I think he's a good player. But doesn't it feel like Kip Lewis is kind of the natural replacement for Stutzman, not just from a football standpoint, but a vocal leadership standpoint? I mean, Kip is constantly bouncing around out there with the energy of 1,000 suns. Like I think that comes very natural to him. So I think he kind of slides into that vocal leadership role in the backer room, or maybe it's they share it, but that just seems to fit Kip a little better.
Yeah. Well, I think they're two different styles of player. They're two different personalities, but I think you need that. It's a little bit good cop, bad cop to a certain degree. At least it seems Kobe seems to be pretty measured, and Kip is like the energy guy, and he's got so much of it that he's like running around between snaps when everyone else is trying to catch their breath and The guy's just, it looks like he's never tired. Just Energizer Bunny keeps going. He's fantastic. But yeah, I love his attitude. He feeds off of that, the momentum of making big plays and being put in tough situations. You see him on the sideline anytime the defense is about to take the field. He's amped up over there, loving the opportunity, no matter if it's, after the offense did something good or maybe the defense has to come through. He's the source of energy for the team. And, I thought he had a hell of a season. And, depending on, the X's and O's part of it and maybe putting a little bit more size on, which, is talked about with him a ton. I've told him all along, dude, don't stress about it. You can overcome a lot of that stuff with technique, but it does help. If you can keep the same speed and you can put on 10 pounds, well, that's going to carry you a long way throughout a physical season. But, just another guy, like, find the things that you've done well and improve on those and find your weaknesses and bring them up to speed. And, I feel really good about it. Don't know who's going to be coaching him at linebacker, but, I feel good about the development, just how he's attacked it personally.
I just love watching the guy play. So when I saw the highlight video, I was just waiting for the end going, okay. And it just seemed like an indicator he's coming back, we're just in a weird spot in college football now. As a fan, it seems like you're constantly wondering if your current players are coming back. So I actually enjoyed them putting this stuff out there so we all can go, oh,
yeah,
okay, relax. Kip Lewis is coming back. Gracen Halton's coming back. We're all good. Like I enjoy them putting that information out there because it takes away some of the uncertainty for the fan base. But I don't think I enjoy watching a player for OU any more than I enjoy watching Kip Lewis. He plays the game with a joy that just makes me happy to watch. Like the energy that he plays with, and it's not always perfect, but the way he takes the field, the way he carries himself out there. And I'm just going to be real. I've never had a player give me as many hugs on the sideline as Kip Lewis gives me. It's just constant throughout the game. I was like, and it's become just normal. At first I was like, this is interesting. It's just normal. And it just makes me happy. It makes me happy to watch this guy play football. So when I saw the highlight video, I was like, yes, because it truly does. This sounds so stupid, but watching him play with the joy and energy that he plays with brings me happiness as someone that covers the team.
Yeah. Kip Lewis he's an emoji. At every point, like, you can sum up his, like, it's fire, or just everything. He wears it on his sleeve. Like, one of my favorite things about Kip is, remember when Caden Helms scored the touchdown, and it was like, cool, that was an awesome thing. But Kip Lewis was like meltdown mode. He was so happy for the guy, and teammates love that, man. Whenever guys are truly happy for you, want you to do well. He's just, I think that with that, there's times where you got to channel it, right? And know whenever maybe are your emotions getting the best of you, but also he uses it well. And, you'll never see a guy, you're right, plays with a ton of enthusiasm, has fun playing the game. You never have to worry about him being down or, not bringing the energy or the heat ever.
In order to carry yourself like that and act that way and not have a bunch of your teammates hate you, you got to make plays.
Yep.
And that's the thing about Kip Lewis is he makes plays.
Yep.
He goes and makes plays. So,
and it's not always it's not just about him, right? Like, he has the same energy whenever he's celebrating with his teammates, which guys love.
And not to make this too long of a conversation about Kip Lewis, but those are the guys that you absolutely have to have when you're on your 4th week of winter workouts and everything's miserable and you're walking over to the indoor and it's freezing cold and you're just like, you get to the point where, hey, maybe I don't look both ways when I cross the street right there on Jenkins. I think every OU football player has been at that point at one
Take a
time. And
nap right there on Jenkins.
yeah, and you get a guy like Kip Lewis. He kind of lifts. He can a guy with that energy and that mentality can kind of lift an entire group up when you need it in those moments because it's not always fun being a college football player.
Yep.
And Kip Lewis seems like he makes it more fun for everyone around him, or at least that's my interpretation.
The
Obviously, we're not
switch,
playing with the guy,
yeah,
but
the switch is always on. All right, switch is always on. Now you may not. You come in at 5 a.m. and the switch is on. It may take you a minute to
I
get
I
up
can
to
just tell you right now, when I was in my third or fourth year, I would have been like, Kip, buddy, I love you. Don't talk to me until we start.
yeah.
Once we start, I need you. I need your juice. I love you, but just don't talk to me until we start. Because that's when it was like, okay, we're getting going. Here comes the switch. Let's flip this thing. Let's go. I don't need
That's
it at
right.
5:15, bud.
That's awesome.
Do you want to talk about a couple shirtless dudes?
I guess.
We'll do it. But first, hitting the highway, remember to stop at Love's Travel Stops. You can't miss the heart of the highway. And with the Love's app, you can also save big. How big? 10 or 15 cents big. Save 10 cents per gallon on gas and 15 cents per gallon on auto diesel. Save with the Love's app today and be welcomed by clean places and friendly faces. Certain conditions may apply. See loves.com for details.
You listen to this podcast to get insight from the guys who played the game. Why don't you take that same approach when it comes to buying your beef? When you order from Didier Ranch, you are getting your beef directly from the people who raise it. A rancher knows what it takes to have premium quality beef. Didier Ranch has done it for over 100 years right here in Oklahoma. From delicious 21-day dry-aged ribeyes to savory steak burgers, there is no better place to get your beef. Get your beef from the guys who've done it and use code Oklahoma15 for 15% off on DidierRanch.com. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better.
And we are brought to you by Simple Modern, the official drinkware partner of the OU Sooners. Let me ask you a question. Are you getting enough water every day? Probably not. Did you know that men need about 124 ounces of water per day to stay hydrated? Let Simple Modern help you meet your hydration goals for this new year and help all the Sooners in your life stay hydrated this year too. Plus, with Simple Modern's new personalizer, you can now create personalized drinkware for yourself or anyone else with just a few clicks. With 10% of all Simple Modern profits going to charity, many in Oklahoma, you're also helping Oklahomans everywhere. Simple Modern, it's good everywhere. All right, time to talk about shirtless dudes. I guess pictures of shirtless dudes. And didn't love seeing them. Looks like Jayden Jackson and Logan Howland both had shoulder surgeries. And when I saw those pictures, I went back and thought, hey, both guys were wearing shoulder harnesses during the season. And clearly, whatever issue both of those guys were having was severe enough they had to go under the knife. Ted, how big of a deal is this? Because when you look at Jayden Jackson and Logan Howland, those are two guys that you are projecting to be starters for this team in 2025.
Yeah. Well, it's not perfect. Um, I mean, two young guys, and maybe especially Howland, you say, is a guy that really needs the offseason, get stronger, get some size, get all that strength and conditioning work done in. Um, and I would expect that neither one of these guys would be doing a whole bunch in spring ball. Um, which again, I think a bigger setback for Logan Howland than it is Jayden Jackson. But the other, I guess the bright side of things is Jayden Jackson had a really good season and he was doing it with a shoulder that required surgery. Logan Howland showed some really nice improvement once he got into the mix and he was doing it with the shoulder that required surgery. So um, I'm not a fan of it because I feel like both of these guys could benefit from off-season stuff, but I feel like they'll be healed up in time to get some good stuff done in the summer and be ready to go football wise for training camp 100%, barring any bad setbacks.
It seems like a bigger deal for Howland, right?
Yeah.
Because he needs to improve his strength. He needs to improve his explosiveness. And also, and we'll see what spring ball looks like. I'm not entirely sure what he had done, what the timeline of his rehab is like, but you got a new offense coordinator coming in. There's going to be a lot of carryover. There's going to be some things that are similar, but Ben Arbuckle is going to want to do some new things, clearly. And I'm really hoping that Logan Howland can be a part of that spring install. Now, they've brought in, is brought in a word?
I don't
Did I
think
just
so.
Broughton?
It seems like
Brought
I
in.
think
They've brought in.
I think brought in, like I would say
I don't think it's a word. I
brought
think
in,
I'm an idiot.
because it sounds like it really doesn't do much to the whole situation. It seems like unnecessary.
Yeah, you're right. I'm stupid. They brought in a couple of guys that have played a lot of ball in Beklenko and Simmons. And so you're going to have guys that are going to be just fine at the left tackle spot. And let's not forget Fodje and Fasusi, where those two guys fit into the equation. We'll see. Those young dudes are going to get reps in
Mhm.
spring, but Howland is one of these guys you were hoping would be full go all off season to make the necessary strength improvements that he needs to make. And it's really unfortunate that this happened because winter's where you get strong,
Mhm.
man. Winter is where you really, and it's where you get strong. It's where you add weight. It's really where you can develop your body. You can do it in summer, but you know that the season is coming and you kind of always have that in the back of your mind and you're trying to get in shape to get ready to go through the grind of a football season. Winter is just it's gross, man. It's where you
Yep.
get down and dirty in the weight room and all those things and develop kind of that foundation of strength. And it's just a bummer that Logan Howland, it doesn't appear Logan Howland's gonna get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shoulder rehab. I've never had to do it, but played with a lot of
Tedious.
guys that had. It does not seem fun.
Tedious. There's a lot of it. But I again I still feel really good about his trajectory. Um, and I don't know. I'm with you. The winter is really where you feel like the gains are made. The summer is really gearing up. I mean, generally speaking, for getting in football shape. But I don't know. Like he is going to have to take it upon himself whenever he is ready to hit the weight room and ramp things up safely, but make that a priority for him over the summer or whenever that might be to try and play catch up a little bit. And that's going to be the same with Jayden Jackson. I it it could require much more of your time and however you typically go about things in the summer, but that has to be a massive focus. We talked about it a lot. I mean, that was probably, I mean, there's technique things involved, but I mean, that was probably the biggest flaw in his game, right? Is just not having the strength to be able to accomplish some of the things he needed to.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about Jaden Jackson. He's on track to be an awesome player.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be an interesting challenge for the strength and conditioning staff and the strength staff because he needs to add some weight. But you don't want to add bad weight at this point in the year when a guy's rehabbing a shoulder. So that's going to be a challenge. How do they develop his strength and explosiveness while rehabbing the shoulder, while adding mass? Like that's a complicated equation.
He'll be a big leg press guy
I was about to
going
say
up.
he's gonna be filling. This is gonna sound bad. He's gonna be filling out those pants in spring ball. I bet.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that's. I mean, you can only do what you can do, right? When you're coming off a shoulder surgery, and yeah, might as well get your legs just absolutely jacked.
Yep. Yeah. There's things, trust me, they will find things for you to do up there in strength and conditioning. But I don't know. I mean, overall, I think that in a perfect world, you'd like everyone to come out of the season 100% healthy. And we know that that's never going to be the case. But with these two guys, surgeries that are really common for football players in the off season, they got a lot of time. And, I don't think this is just not going to derail the trajectory that they're on.
Not at all. Not at all. Not ideal, but I think it's definitely something both of these guys are going to be able to work through. I do think it's a bigger deal for Howland than for Jackson, just with the way we saw those two guys play. I mean, Logan Howland, once he fixed that technique flaw in his pass set, he did some really nice things, especially in pass protection. But he was not a guy that was just displacing defensive ends consistently in the run game. And that's where he needs to get.
Well, he's going to be doing a lot of footwork coming up. So maybe he's going to be dancing out there as a tackle with all the sets that he's going to do while the team's out there practicing.
He's going to be moving some serious weight with those legs, I would assume. Yeah. So that'll be good. All right, let's get to call your shot. We asked you guys the most important thing that happened this week for OU football. This first one comes from Keegan Jewell, who says, seeing Ryan Fodje and Michael Fasusi ball out and get the deserved recognition they've gotten at the latest camps, it's really showing how big of studs OU is getting in that offensive line room. I've been watching some of the highlights. Both guys, to no surprise, look very physically gifted. I thought it was interesting. You saw Fodje play some guard at that camp, and I do not think that he's going to project at guard, but I think it's always good to get a look at a guy at a different position, see how he holds up. And it's a bit of a different world in the interior. You got to play with some lower pads. If he had to play guard, I think he'd be just fine. I don't think that's the plan. I think he's a tackle. But yeah, it's always good when your offensive line recruits go to these big time camps and people just talk about how physically gifted they are and how well they performed. That's a very good thing. It's better than the opposite taking place.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, I'll leave it up to you, but I know that offensive line is one of the positions that's kind of a new world from the high school game to the college game. A lot of times for a bunch of positions, it's a totally different sport. Linebacker, high school football and college football, it's not even the same thing. I mean, other than tackling people that have the football, that's the only similarity there are between the two sports. And I imagine offensive line to some degree is kind of like that as well. But you can see athleticism. You can see, guys that have good hands, a good punch, and can kind of check the boxes on some of those things. And, there's probably some good coaching out there as well these days for high school kids.
I think Fodje is more ready technically from what I've seen, and I haven't seen it all, right? But I think Fodje is more ready technically and Fasusi's more ready physically.
And that could be a coach. I can go back to coaching thing. There's a large difference level from high school to high school on what level you may get at coaching at a certain position group. And so you could say you make up a lot of that ground pretty quickly with Fasusi.
I think it's to be really interesting to see how this offensive line, really how the tackle situation shakes out.
Am I crazy that there's all of a sudden we got, I mean, I'm not saying there's like.
It feels good. Yes.
There's a bunch of tackles. You got like 6 tackles that could play for you, right? I'm adding the freshman in there. That's a little bit quick with
you.
Them.
You feel very good about the type of players that Fasusi and Fodje are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Playing true freshmen at offensive tackle, usually not what you want, but we've seen teams do it. We've played teams that have do it. I mean, Texas played Kelvin Banks as a true freshman. and he's started damn near every game since. He started every game since he's been healthy. He started every single game from him since he was a true freshman. It can happen if a guy comes in, absorbs the playbook, develops the technique that Bill Bedenbaugh wants him to play with, and consistently performs on the practice field. I've said this a lot on here. Bill does not care how old you are, how many stars you had. I don't even think he really cares how much NIL money you're making. Now, he will play the best player. He will play the guy that shows the most consistency in practice. He will. So if Fodje and Fasusi, if they want to play as true freshmen, if they want to start, they're going to have every opportunity to do it. They're really physically gifted. So if they can come in, attack the weight room, get stronger, start playing with the technique that Bill teaches, and learn Arbuckle's offense, like, they got a chance. Can't rule that. They are the most physically gifted guys in the room. I don't even really think there's any arguing that. And that's not a shot at anybody else in the offensive line room. It's just these guys are really athletically gifted for their size. That's why they were as highly recruited as they were. But it's not just it's not only about being athletically gifted in the offensive line room. There's a certain mentality you have to develop, and sometimes it takes young guys a little bit to understand that. But we'll see. I can't wait to see him out there in spring ball. I cannot wait to watch those young guys. But you're right. It does feel like the tackle position in particular, they have addressed the issue. Now, does it look like there's a first rounder in the next NFL draft in that group? No, it doesn't. But you feel better about the depth at the position and just like where the floor of the position is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, you've gone from, being forced into a position to really playing guys that have never played before to being in a spot where you're going to have a bunch of guys that have at least been out there in the mix and have some experience and know what their strengths and weaknesses are and have an entire offseason to learn from it. Plus you got a couple of guys coming in. So it's going to be competitive to get on the field at tackle. And that's a good thing.
Ted _66 says I'm still not sold on the tight end portal additions. Are they expecting big things this coming season from the 4 to 5 star tight end recruit they recruited last year that didn't get on the field as a true freshman? And what about the tight end coach, Joe John Finley? Hasn't exactly improved any players at that spot. Do we want to address this now, or do we want to kind of drill into this on Wednesday, the tight end situation?
I'll leave that up to you.
Just with the additions they've made, what's been your initial reaction to those additions?
Here's how I grasp the whole situation.
And we're gonna have an in the weeds on every one of those guys. I've already put the clips together. It's going to happen, people. So we're gonna be talking some tight ends on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed.
The only way I can really grasp the situation is, at least currently, and things may change if there's guys that enter the portal that they're in on, big tight end players. But it looks to me like we're adding some depth guys. Because we got a room right now that has no experience, we're low on numbers. So we needed to sign a bunch of guys just for practice, right? Just to get the numbers up where they need to be. But it appears, as far as difference makers, guys that you feel like are actually going to play for you, it looks to me like they're putting all their eggs in the Devon Mitchell and Caden Helms basket, which is a risky play because you're going with a young kid that, is technically supposed to be coming in right now as a true freshman, but, he got a year of development, but that's going to help him a lot. And Caden Helms, who has a, extensive injury history, hasn't played a whole lot of football here. So, but, there's also a lot of upside potential there. Devon Mitchell looks like an absolute you-know-what kicker potentially as a blocking tight end. The guy is massive. He's listed at like 265 pounds. There ain't a chance. He's every bit of probably 275 pounds.
From experience, he needs to be careful.
Right.
From experience, you start getting a little puffy around the midsection. Quads start getting huge. Coaches start wondering things. I'm just saying, just be careful, Devon Mitchell. I'm just saying, because all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, you have a football in your hand every snap, and you go, wait, how did I get here? Just saying.
Hey, well, here's the thing. If he's blocking edge guys so good at tight end that they're saying, maybe he could do something on the off. I would be okay with that. All right. But
the five-star tight ends don't get moved to offensive line typically. Like typically you're a five-star because you're an elite athlete.
Right.
So I'm not trying to make it sound like they're going to move Devon Mitchell to tight end. I'm just saying you start getting up to that 270 number. Yeah. People start getting some ideas, man. I'm just telling you from experience.
Yeah. Well, the point is from what we've brought in so far, it feels like just adding depth, and we're banking on Caden Helms and Devon Mitchell to have really big off seasons and be those guys next fall. Unless something changes, then it might.
Let's get into the tight end additions on Wednesday.
Okay.
Because they're interesting additions.
Yeah.
I'll just say one of the guys reminds me a little bit of Power Sharp.
Oh, okay.
But
interesting.
I don't want to say that too loud. Just keep that between me and you.
Okay, hopefully no one heard that.
All right, let's talk about the college football playoff semifinals. But first,
Schwab Meat has been smoking the highest quality meats, hot dogs, and sausages in OKC since 1912. Go to schwabmeat.com to order any of Schwab's outstanding products and use promo code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab dogs are iconic. I like to keep it simple. Just a bun, dog, mustard, ketchup. Also, the jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage is ridiculous. schwabmeat.com, code OKBreakdown for free shipping on orders over $75. Schwab Meat, the official hot dog of game days. And head to the garage for hand-smashed patties, butter-toasted buns, and ice-cold beer. It's the perfect spot to watch any big game. And with all the garage locations being open at 10 p.m. or later every night, it's the go-to late-night spot. Visit eatatthegarage.com to find a location near you and order online from the garage in your neighborhood. Insurica's launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered. From small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
The college football playoff semifinals delivered.
Yes. Couple of great football games.
Let's start with Notre Dame, Penn State. The Fighting Irish advanced to the national title game with a 27-24 win, and that fourth quarter was awesome.
It was. I mean, there's a lot of drama in that football game.
What did I mean, Drew Aller just didn't play well. I think when you look at that game and you go, why couldn't Penn State get the job done? It felt like Penn State's game in the first half, dude.
Yeah.
Really, when Steve Angeli came in because Riley Leonard got a little wobbly there for a second. The drive that they put together, like Angeli comes in and he's just slinging it around. They go and get the field goal before the half. That felt like the turning point in the game. And credit to Angeli for being ready to go. But that felt huge because it felt like it calmed the waters for Notre Dame, because up to that point there was not a lot of good to talk about offensively for the Irish.
Right. Yeah, it was a very it was a very methodical football game. It was, I mean, played pretty conservatively in the first half, and a lot of leaning on the run game. And I'm looking at these scoring drives. Penn State's first field goal drive, 14 plays. Their touchdown drive to take the lead 10-0, 15 plays. And then Notre Dame's field goal drive, the end there, 13 plays. I mean, those are some long drives.
Well, just think Penn State goes on the 15-play touchdown drive, which, hey, run it and give it to Tyler Warren. Good recipe for the Nittany Lions.
Yep.
When Riley Leonard smacks his head on the ground and the ref forces him to go off the field, Notre Dame's down 10-0, and you're like, I don't know if their starting quarterback's going to be able to play the rest of the game. It felt like they were nearly dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Angeli comes in, takes him down the field, and it kind of breathes some life into him. And then, hey, Leonard's back in the second half. And they come out and they play much better offensively.
Yeah. I mean, not very much game time passed before Notre Dame got it back to 10-10, and it felt like, whenever it's 10-0, especially with the pace the game was being played, the 10 points felt like almost insurmountable. But no, I thought, some big time playmaking going on, really both sides defensively. And, quarterback, I'm with you on Drew Aller. It's just, there was a little something missing with him, on some of the throws. And then obviously the late interception, maybe they got a little bit too aggressive too quickly in that drive. You could question that, but at the end of the day, Notre Dame made that big play.
I thought that Aller got bailed out of some of his worst mistakes of the night.
Yeah.
Like he threw that one into triple. You could even make the argument that it was quadruple coverage to Tyler Warren. And I'm not sure, should it be pass interference when you throw it into quadruple coverage and you underthrow it so badly like that? It feels like that was the ultimate bailout for Drew Aller. That was a terrible throw and a bad decision, and he absolutely got bailed out in that moment.
He did. No, that's true. And I thought it was pass interference. I know that there was some controversy over that for some people. I thought it was pass interference, but yeah, it's like that was a poorly thrown ball. Very easily could have been going a long way the other direction, and they get a first down out of it.
Is it as simple as if the Penn State corner just doesn't fall on his butt, they may win the game?
Maybe. I guess. Yeah.
That was brutal, dude. I mean, it just straight on the keister. I mean, Greathouse played a really, really good game for Notre Dame. I mean, he was a difference maker for him, but it certainly helps when the guy covering you just falls down for really no reason at all.
Yeah. It kind of feels familiar. I go back to that Missouri game. I had a corner fall down in that one late. It was tough. Got to keep your feet playing football. Got to stay on your feet. But man, I just thought it was a kind of a throwback football game in a sense. It was physical. I've noticed. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way things have unfolded, but it feels like they're letting them get away with some pretty physical play, and it's taking people a little while to adjust.
Does it kind of feel like the SEC about 10 years ago?
Kinda, yeah, it does.
That's kind of what, and I've heard some people kind of frame it that way. And that is watching that game. That's kind of the feeling I was getting was I think I'm watching a less talented version of like 2009 Bama.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Drew Aller just made a critical mistake when he couldn't make a critical mistake. I do not believe him when he says he was trying to throw it at his feet. That is not how that looks. It looks like he was trying to rip it in there and trying to make a play.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a bad mistake. And it ends up costing him the game. When you're in that moment At the very worst, the game goes to overtime. If you're Drew Aller, that thought has to be in your head.
Yep.
Speaking of the Missouri OU game,
Yeah. No kidding.
but it is, it's just a rough night for Aller. But ultimately, hey, Jeter's the difference for Notre Dame. Guy was nails. Kickers matter, Ted.
Yep. Kickers matter. Came out, nailed it. I mean, that was crazy. You go from looks like Notre Dame is going to go down, kick a field goal here with the 2-minute drill. You end up getting the stop you need. Big momentum shift for Penn State, being able to get the ball back and at least, like you said, go to overtime. And they hit on like a 12, 13-yard play on the run. It's like, if we happen to pop something here, maybe we can go get aggressive and try and, it's like the last of a half type of a 2-minute drive. If you spring one of those runs, you can kind of press the gas, and had that run been shut down, they probably take it to overtime. It's a weird way to kind of look at that.
It is insane to lose to Northern Illinois and play in the national title game in the same season.
It's true. Yeah.
And that's exactly what Notre Dame is doing. And it's
College
impressive.
football is so hard to know what you're going to get from people week by week.
It's impressive. And it's not like they've had a bunch of cupcake games in the playoff. They've beaten really good teams, and they're a banged up football team. They had a couple of linemen go down in the game, right? Their defensive line is beat up. They're missing starters on both sides of the ball, like a bunch of them. Just kept pushing, kept finding a way. And I hate how much I like Marcus Freeman. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. If I didn't go to OU, I was going to go to Notre Dame. And I just hate how much I love Marcus Freeman. He's very, very difficult to cheer against.
Yeah. He's very, got a great demeanor on the sideline, always calm, never too up, never too down, just, steady as she goes, and the players love him. And he's about to get paid. I mean, I know he's already paid really well, but I'm sure he's due because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people snooping around with the agent with him, but it's going to be hard to get him out of there. They're probably going to have to give him a massive upgrade.
They are. I would assume the Notre Dame faithful will do what they must do.
Yep.
They're not lacking for funds around there when motivated.
When motivated. Yep.
0 catches by Penn State wide receivers in the game. Tyler Warren can only do so much. That is just an insane stat in the year of our Lord 2025.
Really is.
Notre Dame was also 11 for 17 on third down. That'll do.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think of Drew Aller?
I think he holds on to the ball too long. And that could be a product of what they're doing offensively. But let's just be real. 12 of 23 for 135 yards ain't getting it done. Mm-hmm. Now, they have to go out and spend on wide receivers. Notre Dame's defensive backs, they got dudes in the back end of that defense. There were not many open wide receivers throughout that game for Drew Aller.
Right.
They got to go spend some NIL dollars on wide receivers, and I think they're going to be just fine. They got a really talented football team, but I'm interested to see how big of a jump he makes this offseason and what he looks like next year. They got to get him some weapons, though. It's hard to judge him as a player. He has all the tools that you're looking for in a quarterback, but I just don't know. It's hard to judge when he doesn't have weapons I don't know if does that make sense? Like, it's not
No,
like you look at Nussmeier at LSU. I mean, he's thrown to guys that are going to be early round picks.
right.
I mean, does Penn State have Tyler Warren's probably going to be a first rounder, but he's a tight end. Like, you have to have some speed on the outside and guys that can go win. And I just don't know. I don't know how many of those guys Penn State has. They
Yeah,
didn't have a wide receiver catch a pass. It's crazy.
it's fair, and I wonder if that's a flaw in Kotelnicki's system. There's a lot of creativity. They do a lot of cool things in the run game, but I wonder how if the pass the downfield passing game is as creative as the run game stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I think the tools with him are there. He's 6'5", has a strong arm. I don't know why, but I don't like his body language. And that's not like a weird thing to say, but not about my opinion, not about quarterback. Like there's a way that quarterbacks usually carry themselves, and he seems like really whiny to me.
Do you think it has anything to do with him looking like he's 16 in
Maybe,
the face? He looks
maybe,
so young.
yeah, he does. I don't know what it is, but every time I see him, it looks like he's like pleading his case with someone. I don't know. It's weird.
They also got a lot of sideline shots of him look like not at his best moments.
Right. Yeah. Which is what they love to do.
But he did have an ultimate, the ultimate two hands on the helmet after he threw that interception. The oh no, what have I done?
Yeah. But I think he's a good player. Is he gonna come back, you think? I mean,
Yeah, he
seems to
already
be
said
what
he's.
everyone's doing. Okay, he did
Yeah, he
say
already
that.
said he's coming back, which is why their backup got into the portal, and that was a big talking point as the playoffs started. But
That's right. That's right.
he's going to be a projected first rounder because
Yeah.
of the tools, and hopefully they get him a couple of really talented wide receivers because I would like to watch that. So
Yeah. Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
agree.
Anything else on that game?
Uh, Good game. Going in, I wasn't sure that either one of those teams could beat Ohio State. I think after this weekend, I still feel the same.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Ohio State beats Texas 28-14. Just what an unfortunate, brutal, heartbreaking loss for the Texas Longhorns. What a shame, Ted.
What a shame. Hey, I'll give them credit. I thought they played. I, Ohio State goes right down the field early. It's like, oh, here we go. They ran into the buzzsaw. This is going to be a beatdown, but I give them credit. They played. They buckled down, played a hell of a football game.
It was maybe we are one Travion Henderson punch away from this being an absolute blowout, but you got to give that Texas defense credit. That offense, the Longhorns offense was struggling to find anything.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State, they had this big window of opportunity in the first half to create separation, and Texas's defense didn't let them. Now, Ohio State helped them out a lot with some penalties.
Yes, they did.
There's no doubt. And some of them were very dumb. But to hold that offense in check for that long, it's impressive. And Texas's defense has been really, really good all season. And they did what I thought was kind of impossible. They just eliminated Jeremiah Smith from the game.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the more shocking developments. Is it looked like, well, all you got to do is just continue to throw it to the unbelievable true freshman. There's no way you can cover the guy. It's like they've got some type of cheat code offensively. But Texas did a really good job. I mean, I thought their defensive line did a really good job. I thought they tackled well. in space. Whenever Ohio State did get some things going, they were able to limit a lot of those plays. But man, that long screenplay was wild. I mean, that changed the football game instantly. And you said it in the Oregon game. He looks so much faster than everyone on the field. It looks weird.
Travion Henderson looks like he's on 1.5 speed. When he gets going, like on that play, go back and watch it, people. He looks like the fastest man alive.
There's like a period of it's like 4 or 5 steps that he just goes so much faster than everyone else that and then he just kind of shuts it off and cruises the other 50 yards. It's wild.
I feel like there's been a lot of conversation about the defensive call there. They only bring 4.
I know.
Why are people making it sound like they brought 6 or like it was 0?
Yeah, I think Saban said it at halftime or whenever that was, post game. But no, they were playing so far off, and they only brought 4 guys that there was a massive separation between the 2 levels of defense. But they didn't bring pressure. Now, I would love for a defensive lineman, someone please recognize that you're not getting blocked and turn and find the screen. But yeah, they didn't bring pressure.
They brought the nickel. Gilbo, he was the 4th rusher, and they dropped 7 in coverage, and credit to Ohio State just executing the screen perfectly.
Yeah.
And credit to Travion Henderson for being the fastest man alive.
Once he sifted his way through and hit the gas, it was over.
But even that felt like a massive, massive moment in the game. But even then, late third quarter, it felt like Texas may win the game. Like that at that point, it felt like Texas had the momentum, but Ohio State was they're just a better team in the fourth quarter. When plays needed to be made, they made them, and Texas didn't. You have 1st and goal from the 1-yard line to go tie the game and couldn't get it done. I did not like, you know me, Ted. I love a toss pin pull play.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it. Not down there. Not down there. There's too much risk. And Ohio State's defense is there's too much speed. You're down on the goal line. If you want to attack the perimeter, just run stretch. Run G lead. It's one of the best plays ever down in that area of the field. Throw a quick screen. Texas throws all kinds of that stuff. Like if you want to get the ball on the perimeter and make them tackle in space, that's what you do. Not, hey, let's toss it. And maybe it's just, revisionist history, but I was not a huge fan of that call. I love that play, just not on the 1-yard line.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that Ohio State defense down there, they're so good on the goal line. Their defensive line is so athletic. They're experienced at backer. Edge guys are good. It's just hard to score on them down there. Like, to me, the two biggest differences are whenever Ohio State ran the G lead down with Judkins, and he ran right through someone's face for the touchdown. And then you go back to the other side, and Texas tried to run the ball and got stuffed on 1st and goal from the 1. So, I mean, that was kind of the difference between the two teams. Now, it's like you go back a long time for Texas in the red zone, right? And being able to score in the red zone, and that has been a problem for them for a couple years now.
No doubt. What'd you think of the quarterback play in the game? Ewers, to me, he looked really shaky early. But I think he had a run with about a minute to go before the half. Kind of lowers his head. He ends up being short, but that's when they brought Arch Manning in to convert on 4th down, which that was a fumble, by the way. Too close to overturn, but that was a fumble.
Yeah.
And I thought that got him going and Texas' offense going a little bit. But early, he looked very uncomfortable in the pocket, but ended up making some I mean, some really nice plays. The one where he's going down and he underhands it, like that was a huge play in
Woo.
the game.
That was man, and it was the closest thing you could ever imagine in replay. But I thought Ewers during a stretch in the second half, it looked like you mentioned, for a stretch that Texas was the better football team, and they're going to find a way to win it. It's just kind of a matter of time. And I thought my biggest criticism for Ewers is that I don't think he's a playmaker. I think he's a guy that distributes the football, and when things are good and he's protected, he's going to be a very, very effective quarterback. But whenever things are chaotic, he's going to struggle. I thought he did a really good job making plays for them during that stretch. And then, the bad play there is going to be really all that anyone remembers.
I think my biggest criticism of him as a college quarterback is he adds nothing to their run game. Look at the two quarterbacks in the national title game. I mean, Will Howard, it's 4th and 2, games on the line. They run QB power with Will Howard. He falls. Turf Monster got him good. But, I mean, and then Riley Leonard, clearly, with what he's doing, running the ball for Notre Dame. But Ewers brings none of that to Texas. Like, not even, I don't even think the defense ever feels threatened that he's going to keep any of these things. And he's not a statue back there. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean in some of the run game, like it doesn't feel like he adds anything at all in whether it's a counter read situation or a zone read, just keeping the defense honest on the backside. It feels like they never do anything like that with him. And that changes how defenses play you.
Yeah, it's funny that Texas kind of went from one extreme to the other, right? They went from a guy in
A battering ram in Ellinger.
Ellinger that did everything, battering ram, just quarterback sweep, quarterback power, quarterback counter, nonstop to Ewers, just kind of and it's a different scheme. But no, I agree. Um, in football, there's different rules on different levels about how to play the game, but you can't change the math. And the math says if the quarterback can run the football, it's going to create issues for defenses. You can see it in the NFL, right? And we'll talk about that. But, it is, Arch brings a little bit more there. And you feel like that's the natural progression, the next step of that offense, that they have to get a quarterback that can do something on the ground.
It's insane we've gone this long without talking about the Jack Sawyer play. That was Cam Williams, Texas right tackle. Guy was playing hurt. Had a very, very bad night. Never a good night when you give up multiple sack strip fumbles
Right.
as a tackle. Not what you're looking for. But that is, and Sawyer's an Ohio State guy. He's from right there. Like, he's been there for 4 years. That was some storybook stuff, man. Abi just seals the game, 82-yard return. That is the type of play that not only are college football fans never going to forget, like there are going to be Ohio State fans that talk about that play forever and where they were when that play happened. For me, it is way up there on the list of most memorable plays in the last 20, 25 years of college football.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, Texas is right there. I mean, the swing and momentum from that play is just, I mean, it was everything. You won the game on one play where it looked like Texas had a chance and was going to tie things up. And here we go. It's interesting. And they had looked like the better football team for a while there. Time's ticking down, almost enough time to score and maybe even get the ball back for Texas and try and win the football game. And he makes that play. Ball bounces right to him in stride to scoop it and go the other way. Watching the sideline. I mean, it's one thing to have that play happen, but to be able to run by your sideline and feel everyone like going crazy as you're running, that had to be like the greatest feeling ever.
I I can't imagine. It felt like that guy deserved it. Like if it was going to happen to any player on that Ohio State team, I think if you would have polled the team, who do you want to make the game changing play to seal the thing? I think he would have gotten the majority of the vote.
Well,
It is great he's going to be remembered for that instead of freaking out about the whole flag plant thing after the Michigan game.
right. Well, uh, it's been awesome, and that's what you want out of your 5-star recruits, right? He was one of the top, maybe the top defensive end coming out. He committed to Ohio State, came in, got better and better each year, stayed there, wanted to win a championship, and here they are playing for it because of one of his. I mean, because of a lot of reasons, but his leadership in that play, I mean, legendary. That's awesome.
No doubt. The 12-team playoff has been a massive success. We got some bad games, but we've also gotten some awesome games these last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And they're going to tweak this thing. We know that. Whether it's how the change in the seating or how the buys work, maybe they go to 14, but I'm confident that as long as we have teams playing their way into the quarterfinals, into the semifinals, we're going to get an awesome product. This weekend was like, I really, really enjoyed watching both of these games.
Yep. You can say whatever you want about the setup, how long it took to get there, who the 12 teams are, who got buys, who didn't. All of that stuff is up for debate. But right now, I think we have the two best teams playing in a national championship game, right?
That's how it feels to me, especially when you consider all the guys that Notre Dame has lost. The fact that they've been able to work through all that and keep pushing and win the games against really good teams. There's no way I'm saying they're not the second best team in the country.
Yeah.
They've earned that, man. That's why you play the games.
And it worked. I like that you had like Ohio. I would say Ohio State and Texas are pretty similar, and Notre Dame and Penn State are similar. I think it's better that you like those two styles are going to eliminate each other, and the best from kind of each of that stylistic group, that's who we're going to get in the championship. I don't know, it's worked out well.
We'll see who wins it all this first year. We're gonna have a couple different championship game previews this week. I think we've got a couple different people scheduled to join us.
Awesome.
So maybe an in the weeds on just for YouTube only, and then one for the full episode.
Nice.
Ready to finish up with our winners and losers?
Let's do it.
But first, and three things matter in banking: service, service, and service. And First Fidelity Bank's commitment to exceptional service is more than a promise, it's their foundation. FFB has been by your side for over a century, and they are honored to be a part of your journey. Banking isn't about where you've been, it's about where you are headed. Open an account at an award-winning bank today at ffb.com. At First Fidelity Bank, we go where you go.
Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School represents a tradition of educational excellence in Oklahoma City. Grounded in a faith-based education, Bishop McGuinness offers a college prep curriculum that includes 26 AP courses, participation in OSSAA athletics, and numerous clubs and organizations for students to join and grow. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGuinness Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available.
And go to opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED for 10% off our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED. Buttery soft and 10% off. As always, Ted, kicks off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Joe Mixon. Texans getting the win over the Chargers 32-12. Joe Mixon has the touchdown that ices it there at the end. They go on that long drive. He ends up with 25 for 106, but that long drive late, I mean, just kept feeding him. That's what you want as a running back. That was very cool to see. It was a 14-play drive, and Joe Mixon felt like carried the ball every single snap almost. It was awesome. 14 plays, 74 yards in just under 7 minutes, and it was the icing on the cake, the nail in the coffin, however you want to frame it for Joe Mixon. Awesome game for him.
He was really good. He continues to have a fantastic NFL career, and he might have the best touchdown celebrations of anyone. He always has, and I'm not up to date on the latest cool dances. I'm just that is not in the wheelhouse. That is not something that's a blind spot for your boy over here. But he always seems to have some awesome choreographed celebration ready to go, and he makes it look so cool every time.
And yeah, I agree. He's an entertaining player, and I'm glad to see him doing well. Made the Pro Bowl. Had it's kind of been a bit of a rebirth for him going there to Houston and playing with C.J. Stroud and building that offense around him. And I don't know, that was a lot of fun seeing him carry the load there. I mean, this drive chart is awesome. Joe Mixon right guard, Joe Mixon right in, Joe Mixon left tackle, Joe Mixon up the middle, Joe Mixon over left tackle, Joe Mixon up the middle. It just keeps going all the way down. I mean, that's how and to do that to the Chargers, that's their game, and to do that to them to close things out was awesome.
The only negative thing in the game for Joe Mixon, a little sooner on sooner crime. They try to throw the double pass. One there, Mixon does the smart thing. Looks like he tucks it. He's just taking off the run, and who's there? Tony Jefferson.
Tony
Rips it away from him, Ted.
I mean, Mixon was probably in, I don't know, the sixth grade whenever Tony Jefferson graduated. I don't know how the years line up there, but dude's been playing football forever and still an
Dude, he
excellent
retired and
player.
came back.
Yeah, no
It
big
has
deal.
been starting for the Chargers.
I know.
I love that man. Tony Jefferson is one of the most enjoyable teammates I've ever had. He was just always so fun to be around, and he was an excellent player. I still remember when he went undrafted. Dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
Dumbest thing ever. Hardest I've ever been hit in my life is by Tony Jefferson. The guy
not a
could
shock to
just
hear that.
pack a punch. And I just love seeing him have the career that he's had because he's an absolutely delightful person to be around. Just so fun and funny. And did you see that video that the Chargers put out of him? Like they're all calling him Unk.
Yeah, I saw some of that. Yeah, I don't think I
Unction.
saw the whole thing. It's so funny. It's awesome.
But I mean, he's just an absolutely awesome teammate. So I was really happy to see Tony make a play like that in a big game. Unfortunate that it was against another Sooner, but little sooner on sooner crime happens when there's so many of them in the NFL.
Every now and then you're going to have that. I mean, there's a bunch of OU players in the playoff, which is really cool. So there's
I'll
going to
be
be there's going to be a little action going against one another.
I'll be rooting it for all of them, which is fun. Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
I had to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers run defense.
Wow.
Ravens are an incredible football team, and they ran the ball 50 times for 299 against the Steelers, who have a really good defense. It's not like the Steelers have a bad defense. They have a really good defense, but 50 for 299. Now, a lot of that is Lamar Jackson doing incredible things at quarterback, but a lot of it is just traditional old school run game. Derrick Henry had 26 for 186, 2 touchdowns. So that is brutal to stop. Baltimore looks really good right now. peak Lamar Jackson at the moment, I believe, surrounded by a really good football team.
If you're the Steelers, the plan had to be, hey, let's shut down the run. Let's make Lamar beat us from the pocket. Things did not go according to plan. That was, let's just be real, man. The Ravens absolutely punked the Steelers. 299 in an NFL game.
I mean, when's the last time the Steelers gave up 299, 300 yards rushing in a football game, especially a playoff football game?
I would think if you asked, tell me a gritty, physical NFL team, I think a lot of people would say the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Always. Always.
That's one of, if not the first franchise that comes to mind when you say, tell me who's the toughest team? Who's the grittiest team in the NFL? A performance like that will make you question everything about the franchise, man. They got embarrassed. That is an embarrassing performance from that defense. The Ravens shoved it down their face, dude. I was watching it. A lot of the things that Ravens offensive line was doing, that Steelers defensive line, it's illegal in every state in this beautiful country, but not illegal in between those white lines. That was a mauling.
Couple of things. Number one, you said illegal. Because this game was coming on, they're on NFL Network this week. They played an old playoff game between the Steelers and the Ravens. And I'm not sure what year it was. I was doing my radio show while it was on in studio, and I was just watching it as the show went on. Dude, I was in heaven. Kelly Gregg, Suggs, Ray Lewis, like all of those guys, Ed Reed. On the other side, Woodley, James Harrison, Polamalu. It was a different sport I was watching on TV. Everything that Polamalu does is illegal. Everything. Spearing guys, blasting them after the whistle. That guy, it was an awesome football game to watch.
Were you just sitting giggling to yourself on your radio show? They're like, Teddy, what's wrong?
Like,
what are you doing?
Every 2 seconds, Polamalu would spear someone with the crown of his helmet. I mean, it was nonstop. They would be like that was back whenever someone got tackled, there was like a 1,000, 2,000, you're down. And anything between that, like you hit the ground, boom, missile come in and spear you right in the ribs. It was awesome. But yeah, the other thing, if a fullback can play for the Baltimore Ravens, I don't think we're too good in college football to play with the fullback, are we? And
preach.
Ricard, whenever he's like waiting for the snap, like they break the huddle, they're getting in the I formation, and he's standing there waiting to get down in the stance, and Lamar Jackson is walking to the line. Like Lamar Jackson's arms look like toothpicks. And Ricard's arms, like even from far away, take up the entire screen. It's all bicep and tricep. It's pretty funny to look at.
We don't have to. I'm not going to retell the story, but there was a point in time where that position, that was going to be me. It was going to be a tight end fullback in the NFL in Greg Roman's offense, and I know that Giro's not there anymore, but yeah, that could have been my life. There's an alternate universe where that's me.
Man, the only thing better than outside zone, Gabe, is two back outside zone search play.
Just poetry in motion, baby. So good. Ravens look awesome.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Some of the plays that Lamar Jackson made in the passing game, dodging like 4 or 5 guys in the pocket, stepping through, and just like delivering a missile downfield. I'm sorry, but at this current moment, I cannot be convinced that Baltimore's not by far the best football team in the NFL. But things can change quickly. But today they look unbeatable.
I'm sure that's exactly what Kansas City wants you to think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
Lucy Breakers are 100% pure nicotine pouches with an extra burst of flavor, and you can get them delivered right to your front door. Go to lucy.co and use promo code BREAKDOWN at checkout for 20% off your first order. That's lucy.co. Use promo code BREAKDOWN. My go-to Lucy Breakers are the 8 milligram espresso, perfect for a long drive. Put them in watching the game at the house. Outstanding stuff. Lucy Breakers come in a variety of flavors, including classics like the mint, but they also got berry citrus, espresso, mango. You can even set up a subscription to make things even more convenient. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co and use promo code BREAKDOWN for 20% off your first order. Here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
and we are brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. This week, I've got my eyes on the football board, and I'm selecting Matthew Stafford more than 240.5 passing yards and Kyron Williams less than 84.5 rushing yards. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code OKBreakdown to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. My winner of the weekend. Give me the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. Let me explain.
Okay.
Do I wish they would have beat the Cavs earlier in the week and keep the win streak going? Of course I do. Of course. But, there's Shea and Hartenstein were in a little foul trouble in that game. Thunder didn't shoot the 3 particularly well. I did love seeing Jalen Williams play well in a big game in that one. But I think the takeaway from that one is, hey, Cleveland, if that's the team we get in the finals, we're going to need Chet. I think that's everyone's takeaway from that game. And you lose to a really, really good team at their place. Was a really good game. Wish they would have won. But the reason they're my winner of the weekend, Ted, is the way that they bounce back against the Knicks. That's the type of stuff I love seeing.
Yeah.
You lose a tough game against Cleveland, and then you go to Madison Square Garden and you absolutely dismantle the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in the NBA, it's going to happen. To put together the win streak that they had was really impressive. But you go on the road and play someone as good as Cleveland, you're going to drop those games in the NBA. Now, you're right. In a series, how does that thing look a little bit different? Interesting to see. But, yeah, I got no worries. And they bounced back in impressive fashion. It's great. Did I see that Cleveland game had like 30-something lead changes?
It was a great game, dude.
Yeah, back and forth.
Jared Allen was a problem for the Thunder.
Yeah.
But looking at the Knicks game, it was not a good start for either team. The way that it started, it was like, hey, is this going to be the lowest scoring game in NBA history? But they once the Thunder got going, they just completely dominated the Knicks, just punched them right in the face. They got anything and everything they wanted offensively. It was just awesome to watch. Shea didn't even need to play the fourth quarter. 0 seconds played in the fourth quarter for Shea, and he had 39 points.
That's crazy.
39 points in 29 minutes. But other than Shea, which seems to always be the story, Isaiah Joe was the story of that game. It felt like he couldn't miss. 8 of 11 from three. Ended up with 31 points. Also had some nice like backdoor cuts and finishes at the rim. Just some really, really good stuff from the Thunder. And I thought they bounced back in a really nice way after a tough loss in Cleveland. And they've got the Wizards tonight. That'll be a win. The Wizards stink, and the Thunder will be 32-6 on the season.
32-6. When's the All-Star break?
February. That's all I know.
February?
Usually like the second week of February, first week of February.
Yep,
Hold that thought. NBA All-Star 2025. This is great podcasting. February 14th through 16th.
Dang, okay.
In San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, not quite halfway through the season, getting close. What, 37 games? They're 31-6, and they got a 6-game lead in the West. So, and they've been doing it without being 100% in a single game so far this year, health wise. So, I think you got to feel pretty good about where they're sitting.
My loser of the weekend. I thought about going with Justin Herbert. 4 interceptions in a playoff game. Now, one of them wasn't his fault at all, but the other 3 were. Not a good performance for Justin Herbert. When you're making $52.5 million a year on your new deal, you're supposed to be the difference maker, not the problem. Yeah. Now, they couldn't run the ball at all, which certainly doesn't help Justin Herbert. They didn't protect him well. Certainly doesn't help. But when you're the guy getting $52.5 million, you have to go out there and be the difference. Mahomes has won Super Bowls with who at wide receiver? So when you're getting paid like the guy, you got to go out and play like the guy, and he didn't play like the guy.
Yep. I mean, that's how the criticism is going to be in the NFL. Right? The quarterback they're going to be the first person that everyone looks to in a win or a loss. How did the quarterback play? And there's no way around it. He did not play well.
I thought you were going to do it, but I'm going to have to do it. My loser of the weekend. Give me OU men's hoops. 0-3 start in SEC play. The Alabama game, just non-competitive.
Yeah, buzzsaw.
The A&M game, a painful collapse that our Ted Lehman watched in person. Why? What was up with all the turnovers late, man? It's like they forgot how to dribble the ball. What was going on?
I have no idea.
It was crazy.
It's like we looked good for so long. I mean, the energy in the arena was amazing. And then a couple of bad turnovers, a couple of bad strings of plays, and you could feel the nervous energy building. You could see it on the court with the players. And it's like I felt like I was watching the football team play, where it's almost as if they're manifesting their own demise on the court by losing all confidence and play after play making mistakes and looking good for long periods and then looking really bad. But I'll say this. I wish we would have won the game. It would have been an unbelievable win. I don't know basketball, but watching it in person, especially without their best player, Texas A&M looks really damn good to me. That defensively, they're impressive.
A&M's got a bunch of guys where I'm like, has he tried football pads on?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Whoever their strength and conditioning coordinator is getting the job done.
I mean, our guards would try and penetrate, and take someone off the dribble and get into the paint, and then it was just like nothing. Couldn't even get the ball out of there after you drove in. Couldn't pass it out. They have a ton of length. We just got manhandled on the glass. What, like 18 turnovers turned into 30 points. You played about as good as you could for a stretch, and then for a long period played about as bad as you could. So, I mean, that does give you some hope. But then Georgia, it was kind of more of the same, wasn't it?
It felt like a game they could win. It felt like a winnable game. It was back and forth in the first half, it was back and forth in the second half, and then when it came down to like go win the game, they fizzled.
Missed a couple
Fizzled.
free throws, missed out on some rebounds, had some poor turnovers. I mean, Fears is he's
He's got
going
to play
through it as
better.
he's going through it as a true freshman right now, and that's what happens whenever you get picked as like the fourth overall pick in a mock draft. People are going to talk about it, and they're going to make an effort to shut you down. And so far, it's worked.
1 of 11, 2 points.
And a bunch of turnovers and in bad times.
It's probably safe to say that that is the worst basketball game Jeremiah Fierce has played, maybe in his entire life, with how
Well,
talented he is.
yeah, the problem is before the Georgia game, the worst game that he had played in his life was the A&M game. And before the A&M game, the worst game that he had played in his life was the Alabama game. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but, here's the thing. It doesn't change the fact that he's incredibly talented. There's just going to be a bit of a learning curve. He's still incredibly young, and it's physical, and you're playing against some different looking creatures all of a sudden in SEC play. Everyone is incredibly big and incredibly physical, and they're letting them play, which is another adjustment.
The Sooners shot 14 more shots than Georgia and lost by 10.
Which is crazy because
Statistically speaking, that's hard to do.
the A&M game, A&M had like, I want to say they had almost 20 more shot attempts than we did. So that's kind of flip-flopped in 2 games.
Free throw line's a problem.
Yeah.
Georgia shot 37 free throws. They made 27 free throws. OU got outscored by 20 from the free throw line.
My God.
So if you're looking for a difference in the game, free throws.
How do you think that
How's that happen? How do you get out? How does one team shoot 9 free throws and the other team shoot 37 free throws?
well, we had to foul a lot at the end.
Right. You're right.
That happened.
But that's a crazy disparity.
What do you think that is? Is that our guys like feeling like they're not able to turn the corner and get to the rim and maybe shying away from it because all the size in the paint?
I don't think our guards are very aggressive getting to the rim. And I think it has a lot to do. Like you look at Kobe Elvis, like Elvis and Duke Miles, like they're not big guys.
Right. Yeah.
So
That
when
was one of
you
the problems
have
late is like we're trying to hit long shots, and we got like they got 4 monsters in there just beating the hell out of Sam Godwin. We got no one down there to rebound at all. We got small guards standing around the perimeter.
big week coming up for the Sooners because you've got Texas, which by the way is a 9 p.m. Central tip.
What the hell? How is
What
that
the
even a
hell?
thing?
How is that? How does that happen?
It's a SEC network game.
How's
Not
that
even
happen?
like ESPN. I have no idea. I have no clue. I asked Toby. Toby didn't know. If Toby doesn't know, I don't think anyone knows. But it's very weird. I think I got the pass to take my son. We can go for the first half.
Okay. So we'll have boots on the ground for the first half, ladies and gentlemen.
I think so.
But what the next 3 Sooners are 0-3 in SEC play, and I believe the next 3, all 3 of the teams are 0-3 in SEC play. So a separation of sorts about to take place.
Well, you got to take advantage of winnable games, and especially whenever you're at home, got to get things turned around here. It's tough. Like I don't want to be too dramatic and like bail on this basketball team. I still think they're a good team, but they've run up against 3 really good squad. Like Alabama and A&M to me are really, really, really good. And then Georgia playing them on the road. They're playing good basketball right now.
I mean, they also beat Kentucky. Like they're good. They're clearly a good team at home.
Yeah. So you have to win some of these other games when you get an opportunity.
You can't score 62 points in a college basketball game, man.
Yeah.
That's just, come on.
Especially with the shooting that we got and we are capable of.
7 of 27 from 3. Not good.
Not good.
I feel like the vibes are dipping, Ted. It's taking a big dip. The Sooners need to go get a win against Texas on Wednesday.
They do. They need a win.
If they can stay awake. Drink some extra coffee, boys. Let's go.
If they could stay awake, I plan on being there. I'm still, as disappointing as these this first 3 SEC games have been, I'm still like really entertained by them and drawn in. I really like watching this team.
Birthday shout outs. Happy 3rd birthday to Addison Downing.
Happy 7th birthday to Rhett Wood.
And happy 16th birthday to Noah Bear Edwards.
Hey, I met the family of the infamous Cocaine Rich over the weekend. How about that?
Were they the ones that sent it in?
They were the ones that sent it in.
Nice. I'm sure Cocaine Rich is a fine fella.
He is.
Episode 492 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop on Wednesday. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our website, okbreakdown.com. Hope you all have a great start to your week. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. Do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.